Disease Control revealed today that it now costs over $1,200 a month for a basket of nutritious food for the average family in that province. This is an explosion of costs that have taken place under this Prime Minister. Those numbers come from a year ago, and the same report says the prices are higher still now. Now the Prime Minister's solution for that is a 61 cent a litre carbon tax. They'll push gas prices well over $2 a litre and increase the cost to farmers and truckers who bring us our food. How much will that increase the cost of food for Canadians?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we've seen the extents to which, not just for the past 7.5 years, but for the decade before that, Conservatives refused to take the fight against climate change seriously, refused to accept that the cost to Canadians from coast to coast to coast would get increasingly large as the years went on. Well, over the past 7 years, Mr. Speaker, we have stepped up in the fight against climate change, including with a price on pollution that puts more money back in the pockets of 8 out of 10 Canadians. We're going to continue to step up with a grocery rebate to help with Canadians with the high costs of food. We're going to continue creating good jobs. We're going to continue being...
Leader of the Opposition.
Their carbon tax is not an environmental plan. It is a tax plan. It has done nothing to meet any targets. It's done nothing to reduce the cost of climate change. What it has done is increase the cost of food, because when you tax the farmers who make the food and the truckers who ship the food, then you tax the food itself. Now, the Prime Minister's plan is not to triple the carbon tax, but to quadruple the carbon tax, while he adds more and more, 61 cent a litre. So my question is, how much will his 61 cent a litre carbon tax add to the monthly basket of food for Canadians? How much?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, once again, we see that the Leader of the Official Opposition is not willing to let the facts get in the way of a great political argument. And even then, it's not that an argument, Mr. Speaker.
You're done, buddy.
Sticker that he can stick on to scare Canadians with. The reality is we are delivering with dental benefits, with a grocery rebate, and with a carbon price that is putting more money back in the pockets of 8 out of 10 Canadians. Mr. Speaker, while he continues to cross his arms and vote against things like the dental benefit, we've delivered on 1,100 kids in his riding dental benefits that have made a real difference.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, if the facts that I have just quoted from the BC Centre for Disease Control are false, then maybe he can tell me what the real numbers are. I've asked him, and given that he wants to bring in a 61 cent a litre carbon tax, increase gas and diesel prices by 61 cent a litre on the farmers that produce the food and the truckers that bring it to the grocery store. How much will that tax increase add to the monthly cost of groceries for the average Canadian family? How much?
Right Honourable.
Simple question.
What Canadians know clearly is the inaction by a decade of a Conservative government and the continued resistance of Conservatives to take action on fighting climate change is costing them incredible amounts. How many homes have been lost in Nova Scotia? How many people affected and evacuated across Alberta? How many people in the Northwest Territories affected now? In New Brunswick, people in Central Canada worried about forest fires coming there in the coming weeks and months. The reality is extreme weather events are getting more and more expensive for Canadians, which is why we need to continue to lead on climate change while supporting Canadians.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker,
it's a tax
those
plan.
things have happened with his carbon tax in place. Has done nothing to reduce emissions, let alone to stop storms and other weather events. So that is nothing more than another act from this Prime Minister. Let's get back to the question. My question was very specific. We know now that a British Columbia family has to spend $1,200 a month on groceries just to feed their kids. He wants to raise the tax up to 61 cents a litre on the farmers and truckers who bring us our food. How much will that add to the grocery bill of an average family? How much?
Holy shit, man. Only one person cares about this country, and it's Pierre right now.
Leader of the Opposition. He is in love with the sound of his own voice and his own attacks, but he doesn't actually check the facts.
Pierre just dying right above me. Have you ever seen a country's leader not give a shit about the people in the country? Because that's what's happening right now. I want to encourage everybody also to give a like in the live stream if you haven't already. We're almost at 200 likes and there's almost 1,500 people watching. So if you're logged in and you drop a like, we might be able to just skyrocket past 200 and hit 300 likes. It's free to do.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister from the top, please.
Mr. Speaker's going to walk out. I really feel like he will.
Here's the issue with the Leader of the Opposition, who's so in love with the sound of his own voice that he doesn't check the facts.
This is so embarrassing for Trudeau.
Our price on pollution, when the reality is BC has its own price on pollution. The federal backstop doesn't even apply in BC. He is mixing everything for political arguments, for partisan attacks to try and scare Canadians, and to cover for the fact that he has no plan to fight climate change, therefore has no plan for the future of the Canadian economy.
Oh, come on.
The Wapiton Dakota First Nations hasn't had a proper school in a long time. I've been to the school. Students are forced to learn in portables. They don't have proper running water, don't have heating and cooling in the winter and in the summer. And the school itself has a roof that's caving in. There's black mold everywhere. This is often the reality for First Nations and Indigenous kids. Will?
Have to ask.
I want Jagmeet to just get up and say, coalition over. We're calling a snap election. And then Pierre gets up and says, yeah. Block gets up and says, yeah.
Calm down and be quiet while we listen to whoever's asking.
And then he walks out.
Answering the question. The Honourable Member for Burnaby South from the top, please.
Wapiton Dakota First Nations hasn't had a properly functioning school in a long time. I visited the First Nations and I saw the school. They have to operate in portables. The portables don't have proper heating and cooling. These portables don't have running water in the winter. I went to the school itself and the building, main structure, the roof is caving in and there's black mold. This is often the reality for Indigenous children in our country. So when will this Prime Minister take this matter seriously and ensure that this First Nation has a proper school so Indigenous kids can learn in a safe and secure surrounding?
Hear, hear. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I agree with my honourable colleague. We need to do more. We have built hundreds of new schools across this country in Indigenous communities over the past 7.5 years, but there is much more to do. We will continue to work hand in hand with Indigenous peoples on record investments, on partnerships to build schools, health centres, senior centres, to solve outstanding land claim issues, to install to install wastewater and water treatment plants to ensure drinking water across this country. These are things that we're doing and we're continuing to do, and I appreciate the member opposite's hard work on bringing them forward as well.
Thanks for watching the video to the very end. If you'd like to subscribe, I've made it very easy. You can do so by clicking right there. If you'd like to watch another House of Commons highlight clip, you can do so by clicking right there. And if you'd like to subscribe to my main channel, Mistersunshinebaby, where it's all Canadian political news, then you can do so by tapping up there. Subscribing is absolutely free. There's a button down below that says subscribe. If you'd like to join and become a member and financially contribute, you could do so as well. Thank you so much for watching this video.